Alright, so welcome back again. This time we're going to start talking about that declaration block inside CSS rules, which consist of a bunch of property and value pairs. To be honest, we're not going to talk about every property under the sun because that would take months, right? Like there's a ton of CSS properties. We're just going to pick a couple and just kind of make sure that we're all on board with things you can do with properties and looking at some big picture things. Specifically, in order to talk about it, I had to pick a couple. So specifically what I chose to pick was font, background, and border. To be honest, they're all pretty straightforward properties. And I just kind of want to make sure we're all on the same page. I'm sure you've got experience from a lot of other places, but I just wanted to do at least one thing together just to fill in some gaps about these properties and just let me say some things about properties with real examples. All of these properties, font, background, and border, also rely on color heavily. So we're going to say some things about color and the ways you can set the value of color. So we're going to learn about, as far as color is concerned, ways that you can set it by a name, so like saying red or blue or something, a hex value, an RGB, or a hue, saturation, lightness level. I'm not going to go into all of these, but I at least want to show examples to show that you can use all of them. And then to be honest, we're also going to use the Chrome Dev tools to set color, which is a really great way to try to design color into the pages that you make. And so this lecture is very different than the last one. The last one was all about the selector. We really don't care about the selector this time. That's going to always be a given thing in your exercises. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting a property and a value related specifically to the properties we're looking at, font, background, and border today. So all of these rely on color, so let's talk about color first. So there are basically 4 different ways you can specify color into a CSS sheet. The first one is to know a specific name. So for example, the name red works, and it knows what color that is. There's actually hundreds of colors. You could go look them up. It's kind of fun. We have some examples that look at different P colors, and there's 20 different colors that start with P. But red is one of them. Another way you could define it is with a hex value. So if you know hex, that's great. This is something you could use. The important thing you need to know is that this really is just RGB. There's 2 ways you can specify it. One is with only 3 values. In that case, it's a 0 to F rating. So F being the highest, which is 15. So this would be perfectly green, right? So that's green with no red and no blue. If you want better resolution, you can actually specify it with 2 hexadecimal values. So this one, again, is the exact same color. It's full green, which is FF, and no red, no blue. Could talk more about that, but I won't. If you know and like hex, then you can use that. You can just as easily skip the hex and just say RGB. These 2 are really identical. It's just that one is written in decimal, the other is written in hex. Another thing you can specify is you can specify the opacity, so the alpha level. So you can use RGBA. The thing that's weird about that is that RGB are 0 to 255s, and then the A is a fractional from 0 to 1. 0 being completely transparent, so the color wouldn't matter, 1 being fully opaque. If you happen to be a real nerd, though, there's another color spectrum called hue, saturation, brightness is what some people call it. You also hear it referred to as hue, saturation, value, so HSV is also a common name for it. They call it HSL in CSS land, which is fine. What it is you set the hue first. So here you can see some example hues. Hues are 0 to 360, so it's like a degrees around the circle. And it's a rainbow, right? So, I mean, it kind of looks like a rainbow, and then it laps back around once you hit 360. And you can kind of see that it's broken up to 30, 60, 90. It kind of changes each color of the rainbow. And then the saturation is how much of that color do you want to be present. And then the brightness is how bright it is. So like a 0 brightness would be black, and the hue and saturation wouldn't matter because it would just be black. In the same way that you can specify alpha with RGB, you can specify with HSL as well. And it is just a 0 to 1 at the end, whereas these 2 in the middle are percentages from 0 to 100%. To be honest, I like HSL, but somehow I still think in RGB. But if you're a real geek, you can do HSL. The other great way to set up color in your pages is to make use of the Chrome Dev tools. In order to do this demo, we're going to need to download the example code for this unit, which you're going to have to do as soon as you get to an exercise anyway. And what I want you to do is I want you to download that. I'll do it with you here. And then we're going to open up into the code used in lecture a file called Chrome DevTools Color. So what you need to do is you need to click on the link. I'll put a link above. Go to the GitHub repository. Download the zip file for the code for this unit. You can put the downloaded zip file anywhere you want. I'm just going to stick it into downloads. And then the same deal as before, extract it into your web dev links project into the static folder. Once you've got it downloaded into the folder, you'll just have to go into Eclipse and refresh, and then you should have your property basics exercises. The one that we're going to have you look at is code used in class, colors, Chrome DevTools Color. If you open this up and look at it, you can look at the code. That's fine. Right now, it's just got a box, which is the color red. If you wanted to open this up in Chrome, you can say open with System Editor. That's a nice trick for opening up, but then it's annoying the next time you want to edit the text. And so once you've got this up, you can see that our color is just red. And we can right-click on it, and we can say Inspect Elements. And we can start using the Chrome DevTools to look at this thing. All right, I'm going to put my Chrome DevTools to the side instead of below just because of the screen real estate I have. And one of the things that's nice about the Chrome DevTool is right now it says red, but you could also just type in blue, and it would actually just change the color. So just to clarify, I right-clicked on it, I said Inspect Element, and there's this rule for background color, and I just wanted to try some different ways of setting this thing. So if I said like F0F, that would be purple because that's full red and that's full blue. I could also type in RGBA, and I could type in 100,001, which would be a very, very dark red. If I changed it to, instead of a 1 at the end, a 0.5, you could see that the opacity is getting lighter and lighter as I changed it. And then if I wanted to do HSL, I could type something like 0, 50%, 50%. If I change the hue to like 30, and then 60, and then 90, you can see it's getting green. And then if I keep going to 120, it'll get to blue, and then eventually it'll get its way all the way around to the purples. So you can see hue, saturation, value. I kind of like 50-50 as far as the saturation, the value for those. So that's one way you can do it with the Chrome DevTools, and it's a great way to play with these different color systems. But even better is you can just click on the actual color itself, and it'll open up the color picker. And then once you've got the color picker, I mean, you can just click to add colors, right? And you can actually even change the alpha on these things. And it's as easy as you could possibly get. So I love when I'm making a real website to just go nuts, picking different colors in this way. And then honestly, once I've got it, I just copy it back, and then I go into my code and I just paste in what I want it to be. And then the next time I reload the page, it'll load in with that color that I've picked. And then to be honest, I don't really care at that point if it used hex or HSL or different ways to do it. Right now it's set as HSL, and honestly I don't care, right? So that's how I actually do color. All right, so that's it for this unit. You should be a master of all things color, and I just really want to stress how valuable these Chrome Dev tools are in learning this stuff. All right, see you next time. Bye.